And we're back to HTML SVG. We can also use it to embed images. So I use the SVG as parent with an set, and inside you use image. Be careful here, it's not IMG, as you may have seen it in HTML, it's image. Then you add the href, we still have our IMG folder here in our tutorial project. So I use img \computer.jpg. So that's this image right here. And it's already here. It's a little bit too big, so we can't see it properly. Let me adjust the width, and I set it to a relative value 100%. And this is 100% of the parent, our SVG, with a width of 400 pixels. So if I adjust the width here, you can see the image gets adjusted. When you use an IMG in HTML, the relative value usually applies to the size of the image file. But here, as I've said, it's a relative value to the SVG canvas. You can adjust position using X and Y. Let me set the width to 80%. But be aware that at some point you're going to have a cutoff. So if you, for example, 100 does still work, but if I make it 500, we won't see it anymore because it's way too low for our SVG. At 200, we should see a cutoff. Here you go. Same goes for the X position, so left to right. Be careful with your sizes here. At 100%, we're going to cut it off slightly because of X10, and for X0 you can see it again. So this is stuff to consider when you use an image inside of your SVG. We can easily transform it now. For example, we'll rotate it. You can also scale it here. But let me use rotation, maybe 5 degrees. What we can also do is we can now paint on top of it. So if we, for example, want to give this image some text, it may make sense to add a rectangle and then a text element. Let me adjust the width here. We've got a width of 400 and the image is set to 100%. So I'll make the width like 300. Well, let me stick to 300. The height, maybe like 50 is enough. And I set the fill to black. By default, it's in X and Y0 position, so top left. Therefore, I have to reposition it. Width is easy. We've got it set to 400 and our element is 300 big. So to have it in center, we need 400 minus 300 divided by 2, which is 50. Y position, we have to guess a little bit. Could also look up the size of our image and the aspect ratio. But let me just try 250, maybe 200. Something like this should be fine. I want to go down with the opacity a little bit. I'll make it 50, so 0.5. And I also give it rounded corners, so I use Rx and Ry. Let me try 5. I want to have it a little bit more intense. I'll go down with the height to 40. I like 10 for Rx and Ry. And I can move it a little bit more downwards, so 220 or 210. Let me stick to 210, and I already create my text. You can see it a little bit up here, it's in X and Y 0 position. It's a little bit outside of our image. Let me reposition that. And here we can see it now properly. Now I have to guess a little bit to find the center position for the length of this text element. And I already want to give it a white fill. Let me try 130 for X and 230 for Y. Oh, that's close to the center. And it looks fine. You can see you can use this SVG image to stack elements on top of one another and create these effects. And as it's an SVG, you don't have any scalability problems here. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.